What's up guys, welcome back to another Car Antics YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between the first gen and second gen 86/BRZ.
And hopefully this will help you decide which one to get.
Obviously the second gen, it's way better. Alright, so the first main difference between the first gen and second gen is going to be the engine, obviously. But before I talk about that, I did want to mention second gen does still get the same old hood prop. So that does mean these hydraulic hood struts are aftermarket, which I do highly recommend if you plan on working on your engine bay a lot. But back to the engine, you are going to get the new upgraded FA24, which is going to be a 2.4 liter boxer 4 producing 228 horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. It's a small little bump from the first gen.
Don't mind looking at another stock engine, but over here on the first gen, it features the OG FA20 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine that produces a whopping 200 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. I know that's some crazy numbers, guys. Don't go crazy. I know. Keep it chill, but all jokes aside, this is a really good engine.
Moving on to the exterior, the second gen is going to come with a completely new body, but it still carries some small characteristics from the first gen. Starting on the front end of the car, we're going to have a fresh new looking front bumper with a massive grille, nice little GR badge, and fully functional air vents towards the sides. Moving down to the side, we have another set of fully functional vents, and a little further down, we have brand new rocker panels with a complete new body line, giving it a much more aggressive look.
What did he say?
Another thing to add about these rocker panels is it's not connected to the rear fenders, which means you can easily replace it without needing to replace the whole entire rear fender. Moving up the side of the car, we have brand new redesigned side mirrors, which gives it a nice, clean, sharp look, as well as more visibility when driving. It's gonna be a while. Moving to the rear of the car, we're gonna see that the trunk has a built-in tiny little duck lift spoiler, but you can still add your bigger aftermarket one if you wanted. As we're speaking about the trunk, it is gonna be a smaller opening, which does mean whoever you're kidnapping is gonna be a little more difficult to stuff into there. But if you're kidnapping someone Derek-sized, it should be pretty easy still, so you're good to go. Jokes aside, moving down to the rear bumper, we're going to see that the diffuser is slightly smaller, which allows the license plate to sit on the actual rear bumper versus the trunk. As we're moving on to the inside of the car, I wanted to mention that the second gen doors do stay open on their own. You no longer have those automatic closing doors that the first gen had. On the inside of the car, we're going to have not a completely new redesign, but more of a refresh on the dash. It still shares the same 4-vent setup on the side with the 2 in the middle. But under that, we do have a completely brand new head unit, which does feature Apple CarPlay. I know the 2017s and up did also, but this one's a complete new infotainment system. The buttons under that are somewhat similar. They're just more digitized, I would say. But other than that, the placements are very similar. On the shifter, we have, I believe, is pretty much the exact same shifter as the first gen. Same thing, manual handbrake. And then in the middle, we have these traction control buttons as well as your sport mode, whatever buttons for the automatics. Onto the center console, it is a little bit different. You do have 2 cup holders now that are somewhat more towards the front. They are still kind of in a weird placement, so I don't actually use them at all. I just kind of have it closed, keep whatever knickknacks I have in there, keep it closed while I'm driving just so it doesn't get in the way. As we move to the actual digital gauge cluster, yes, it is digital now, which is sick. Basically, everything is digital other than your check engine light, headlight. Other than that, the speedometer, the tachometer, your oil temps, everything, engine temps, all of that is digital now. Your speed is going to be shown just as a number. It doesn't have an actual dial, and your tachometer is going to be shown around that speed. Now, as I was talking about that track mode button towards the center console, if you hold that, your digital gauge cluster is going to change to this completely different new look where the RPMs kind of rise up a slope type thing versus in a circle. It kind of just gives a more sportier look, but as well as helps you with your shifting, just because you could see that red line a little more apparent. Now that we know, we talk about the front interior of the car. Moving to the rear, you still get some pretty non-usable rear seats. Like, you're not fitting anyone back there unless they're Derek. Visibility wise, you still really can't see your blind spot out these rear quarter panel windows. You either have to get wide angle mirrors or something, so your mirror's really wide, because legit this headrest is just in my way. I can't even see out that window, or you have to look through the back windshield, but that's just like, I feel like that's more dangerous to turn around for that long or that much. It's really hard to see out of this car, to be honest, other than the front. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the interior.
So moving on to some of the performance similarities between the first and the second gen, they're both gonna feature the same exact brakes, whether that's the base model with the same rotors, calipers, or the performance models between the first and second gen, which have the Brembos. They're both going to be interchangeable, so whether you want to use it on the first gen, second gen, you can use it on either or. It's just kind of unfortunate because the base model brakes are really ass. So I don't know how to even stress that, but the calipers, rotors on both for base model are so bad. I recommend that being one of the first upgrades that you do, which is super important because these cars both have the front engine, rear wheel drive drivetrain that everybody loves. Whether you go to the track, the mountains, whether you drift it, no matter what floats your boat, it's gonna be really unfortunate that your brakes are gonna absolutely fail you, and then you're gonna end up going into a wall because you're gonna have such bad brake fade that okay, I'm better. Let's talk about traction. So a problem with the first gen is that when you try to take corners aggressively and the car started to feel just a little bit of slippage in the rear end, the traction control would kick in super hard and aggressive and would cut power almost immediately upon the car slipping. The second gen fortunately fixed that problem, where as soon as the car starts feeling slippage, it'll allow for a little bit of a delay between traction control kicking in, allowing you to have a little bit more fun on turns, which segments us into the next thing, which is the pedal dance. If you know, you know. Second gen completely fixed that. You can just hold the button down easy. So moving on from traction to handling, the second gen features a stiffer frame, which means again, taking it to the track, whatever. If you're going around corners, there's gonna be less body roll than what you would see or find in the first gen.
All right, there you have it. Those are gonna be the differences and similarities between the first gen and second gen 86/BRZ. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know down in the comments below which one you think is better. I'm sure you're gonna say the second gen just because it's way better. Derek doesn't agree, but he's Derek, so it doesn't matter. Anything else you wanna add, Derek?
I'm hangry. Let's get some food.
I think everything is pretty much the same.